I'm not saying.
All right, everyone, I guess we're on the air, right?
How are you doing?
Terry?
Yep, as far as I know.
Okay. I'm going to call this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission to order. It is, at least by this clock, it is 1:01 on Thursday, August 16th. Present at today's meeting are John McLaughlin, Stephen Welch, Diane Coombs, and myself, Ray Pohl. Any portion of the meeting that you folks want to record, if you want to record, let us know in advance, please. And any conversations that aren't at the table should go out into the hallway. That means you, Matt. Can I have a
So moved.
Thank you, Diane. Diane has made a motion to approve today's agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any public comment at this time? Matt?
I just want to say that you guys are all doing an amazing job.
That's good. Okay, so let's just approve Matt's stuff. Thank you, Matt.
For brownie points?
Put me on the spot, you know?
Okay.
We'll put that as an
Okay.
agenda item on next week's agenda.
Right, we'll deliberate that one. Okay, so moving right along, we're going to move to new business. Now, I don't believe that we have our Frank Frankel in the audience.
He's not here. I was in touch with him today, and he'll be here next Tuesday.
Okay, so I'm going to need a motion to hold that one. Thank you. Is that your motion, Diane?
Yes.
Okay. Diane has made a motion to hold item number 1 for representation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, Lisa, did you want to wait?
I'll do go first.
Okay.
I just thought she would be
Well-
helpful on the preliminary review of one month each.
Yeah, okay, fine. Well, you just explain this. So I'm obviously recused from the next two.
So we'll do
the
11.
floor office.
Evelyn.
This means you have to call on John because we're only two here.
All right. Here's yours and Johnny's,
Thank you.
and I will read Sconset.
You better be good, because I went to the meeting and they were positive there, so hopefully they didn't change their minds.
They, it said, it is contributing and it's individually significant, and the east elevation, please drop gable roof to break from main roof. That is on the east elevation. The other says, appreciate reduction in scale of project, less is more with these jewels of houses. And there were four guys there. So that's good.
Okay, so I have, so what they wanted me to do is, if you look at the east,
Yes.
the gable, they didn't want it to align, the one that's bubbled, that one. They didn't want that to align with the back roof. So I brought an SK that kind of shows dropping that, so it's asymmetrical, it's a salt box. I need the higher roof. I'll pass this to Diane, maybe. I need the higher roof for the shower,
Okay,
but since it's a funky little house,
oh, they don't want it to line up
yeah.
with that roof.
So I just made a salt box so I could keep the head height that was required in the shower, but the backside goes down deeper, lower where we don't need the head height.
Okay.
So the submission to the table works with the program?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the other thing that was a big fierce debate, although they didn't seem to care which it went, was which way the garage gable should face. I submitted the one where the gable faces the other direction. So you see from the front elevation, you see an eave. So here, I mean, the rationale for, and I'll pass this back to Diane too.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's not changed on this one.
No.
It's on that
It's
one.
on this.
It's right here.
Yes, that is the change that reflected in this. The other thing that we talked about at Sconset is which way the roof should go on the garage.
Which way you gonna have it?
I don't care, I'm open.
You're open to having it
So she's
straight
saying
across
change
Yeah.
this
or a gable?
to this.
Yeah, and I'll,
And change this, or change this.
they were kind of ambivalent about it. I thought that if it was a gable facing the road, although it's more noticeable from the road, it looks a little bit more like a shed that was separated. It's a little less connected looking maybe, but I could really go either way, so I just thought I'd bring both options and let you guys weigh in.
Okay. It's us. So, Steve,
Okay, so, appreciate the changes. I think on the east elevation, the, A2.2 sheet submitted at the table is appropriate. The change to that and the main sheet, the changes look good.
It's basically a reduction. We ended up not doing a big addition off the living room when we enclosed the side porch. We left the back part of the house the same way that it was with the bedroom. Originally, we were gonna tear that down and we were gonna rotate it all. We decided to leave it the way it is.
Yeah, I think it looks good. It creates more segmentation. It looks more like additive massing, a history of the building
Yes.
being over time. And then I think the other elevations, I have no
what about the garage? Which way do you
Concerns
want the
with?
garage to face?
no concerns with the other elevations. And the garage, I do think that it does, the change you submitted at the table, A2.1B, on
The gable front?
And gable
the
front.
south elevation, gable front does create a sense that it's a separate building, which I think is advantageous.
Okay, thank you. What about John? Is he ready?
Ready?
Okay, I too appreciate what you've done. I think that it is fine, and I think that the gable front on the south elevation is appropriate.
Okay.
Shall I make a motion with some exhibits?
That'd be great.
Yeah, you're gonna write Exhibit A on the big one
And,
and the little one? Do you have a little one, or do you want this one?
yep, I got one, thanks. Okay, so a motion to approve as submitted, subject to, Lisa, can you revise the drawings and just put them all on one?
Yeah,
For a
absolutely.
final?
Yeah.
And that way
Yeah,
when
we'll
it
do it
comes
through
in,
staff.
it'll be easier for everyone.
My question is the garage going eve or gable?
Gable.
Gable facing the road.
Right, so it'll be, and we'll include that as an Exhibit B. So it will be a motion to approve as submitted, subject to the east elevation circled on Exhibit A, circled in blue ink, and the ink circled change to the garage on the south elevation, Exhibit B.
I'm so bummed that you guys are on live stream anymore.
Oh, we're not?
Such a drag.
Oh, I thought they were gonna do it on YouTube or something.
Game changer for this one.
I think they're planning on live streaming us to YouTube.
No, you weren't on the site. I went to the YouTube site.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The archive is supposed to be on YouTube.
They've got a live stream
There is
page set
no
up.
live.
So we have to sit
Yeah,
here
they have,
again
they
now.
Up here,
have, oh, not up here?
not up here.
Gotcha.
Why can't they just
We have to
leave
do a
it the way it
text
is?
chain so that people know when to come.
Yeah, it's gonna be,
So much better.
you all get to sit here as long as we do.
All right. All right, now the next one
This is the
So did you have
with the
a
exhibits.
vote?
is, all those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye, 3 ayes.
3 ayes. And the next one is One Low Beach.
Yeah. Should I let Matt go ahead with one of his so that Abby can join?
Sure.
Okay. Matt, do you want to just do one?
Totally up to you.
Yeah. Well, I
It's all
want
about rhythm, ready?
to.
So a motion to hold, to later in the agenda, number 3, One Will Betrothed.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And a motion to hold till later in the agenda 4,
Oh, here she comes now.
3.
You gonna go, Matt?
4 is formal design, not here. Good.
Yeah.
That's what you're for?
I just figured since he's already there. What your call, Mr. Chairman?
I'll do whatever.
Okay, so let the record reflect that Abby has joined us at 1:10. All right, so we're now reviewing, I'm sorry, Stephen, I just realized, so did you make a motion to hold 9 Kendrick, which is the Thornwell project, for representation?
I was going to, but since we're gonna do this, I will withdraw the motion.
Okay.
Because he might show up
Okay.
in time.
All right, so now we're on to item 5, Michelle Black, 28 Eagle Point Road, correct?
Where? Where are you? Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I should have that par. I guess it doesn't matter. 30? We don't really need to hold this.
Something. No, you're not doing the 28, but I wanted my 28 today. Need that.
Start whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you. So this is an application for a new dwelling. It's on Eel Point Road. Just talk a little bit about the massing. We actually used a gambrel roof structure here. It's actually got a little bit of a combination. But for the primary mass, we went with the gambrel roof structure, primarily to keep the scale of the house down. There's obviously, in this area, there's a lot of larger scale homes, so in that regard, this home is contextual. But what we wanted to do is actually try to have as much roof area as possible in that main mass. And so, with the exception of the primary gable and the secondary, those are the primary, wall areas. Beyond that, we've got the wraparound porch, and again, utilize that gambrel roof structure so that we could drop the scale as much as possible. Try to keep the details pretty simple. We did we do have some decorative elements specifically on the second floor decks. We put a radius just on the outside corners. We had drawn them originally as square, and it just looked a little, I don't know, rigid. Less elegant. We thought that just by, it's actually, if you can imagine, it's a square deck, but instead of being squared off, we have, I think it's about a 2.5 or 30-inch radius just at the corners, just to kind of really soften the edge. And then we went with an open rail on the front, just to provide a little bit of variety. Beyond that, we tried to keep the detailing pretty simple, straightforward. We're obviously dealing with some topography there. The parcels kind of slope up to a hill there, and thankfully, actually, in an effort, selfishly too, we tried to utilize the existing home location and top of finished floor elevation, and utilizing the existing topography. We're actually not doing a whole lot of fill. We are creating a little bit of a level area on the driveway side. There is a subsequent landscape plan that will be coming in under a separate application. But we're not doing a lot of cutting and filling. We're utilizing a lot of the existing grading, which I think would be probably most accurately covered in the landscape application. With that, I'd love to hear what the board has. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks.
92 and 18.
92 and 18, 110. Correct.
It's a hotel, it's official.
What are the colors, Matt?
White. White up there.
What do you get, John?
112 feet long.
It's,
I got
yeah, basically
110.
saying.
Biggest house up there. Yeah. Over here.
Yeah. Okay, it's a lot to digest.
I mean, if you want to hold for a viewing or digest or.
I'm gonna go first on this.
Okay.
I know, I don't normally go first, but I think just sort of a broad brushstrokes thing. So, Matt, I don't think that you would disagree that this is a very, 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 very large house. And it's got white trim, and it sits on top of a hill overlooking Eel Point Road. So I think that, before we even get into the architect, bless you, and personally, I think that the style, once again, as is all of your stuff, it's well designed. I'm just fearful that it's so long, as it addresses, so long in sort of the east-west direction, which is fronting Eel Point Road, that we would really be very remiss if we didn't go out and view this. The existing house is there, right? It's still there?
I believe it is, yeah, but does have a demo permit that was issued probably last week, so.
Well, I mean, I'm just, so that we could use that as a frame of reference. And now, if I'm not mistaken, your site plan unfortunately doesn't show the existing house, but if I compare your site plan with the GPS, I would say that the existing house that's out there is much further away from Eel Point Road than your proposed current house. Would you agree with that?
Actually, the face of the gambrel is actually pretty within like 2 or 3 feet of the existing face of the existing house, believe it or not.
Maybe you could superimpose a dashed in line showing where the existing house is.
Sure.
And I would recommend, does anyone disagree that this would not be a good candidate for a viewing given its size and?
No, I would suggest that's a great idea, and further that the overlay of, because if you look at the locus versus the site plan, it looks like what's happened is the proposed dwelling is moved to the front of the hill towards Eel Point, where the existing was at the back of the hill away from Eel Point.
Well, he's suggesting that that's not the case.
No, that's why I'm saying an overlay would be good.
Certainly
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
And we
Which
should
exacs-
have,
Which exacerbates the whole length issue.
Don't believe
we
your
should
eyes.
have numbers on the height of the different places. I've got lines. but
Oh, you mean like topo
Yeah,
information?
we need to have more than that. The lines are there, but
Sure.
the things are not. And on the GIS thing, it shows one building with all those driveways around it, but on this one, this shows the second dwelling, which, is the second dwelling there?
No,
No.
he's yet to come in with that.
Yeah, and in fact, it's basically a placeholder. There's no short-term plan for the second dwelling, but we did want to place it. But I can,
Okay, that's right.
for clarity purposes, I'll probably just dash it in.
And can I give I would like to give a little bit of feedback to Matt, because I think.
Sure. Yep.
Matt, in terms of appropriateness, I gotta echo what our chairman said. I think your design it's a good design. It's otherwise appropriate, but for the length. And I think the sense of just a monolithic structure in a way high on the hill is gonna be a big concern. So breaking that mass up is gonna be one of the primary focuses with my vote. I just wanna telegraph that now.
Sure.
Yeah,
No, I
because we're
appreciate
gonna be
that.
doing a
I
video,
agree with
so-
that.
And we should really try and cite some of these following, building with Nantucket in mind, not on the highest spot. If the original one was set back off the highest spot, then
Yeah.
this should follow suit and not,
Well, and frankly, there is a lot of room to move this back and still maintain a really fabulous yard back there.
right.
Plenty of space. And it's not like you're gonna lose any view just by moving it further back.
Because the
Just-
main view
just to,
is
you know,
is
sure.
south, right, Matt?
North.
Yeah, north.
Did you say the main view?
View
The main view to...
is Eel Point Road or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
across the
Nantucket
way.
Sound is on the other side of Eel
I,
Point Road.
yeah,
Duh.
but
Last time I checked,
the
anyway.
last time you checked, but it looks, if you look at just the elevations as such, it looks as if the south elevation has the most fenestration,
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, which would,
which feeds it back towards Nantucket Road.
Right.
correct. And the thought behind that, if I could, Diane, is that, you know, one of the things, obviously the view is to the north, but that's also the street, you know, the kind of elevation, the public elevation. And so we tried to be as judicious as we could in terms of the amount of fenestration towards the north. As a program, we basically developed the backyard for a lot of the outdoor entertaining, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why you'll see a lot more fenestration on the south, which would not
Yeah.
be visible.
Because this is tucked in by the Swift Rock Road
Yeah,
and Iona's Beach, which is a long way away from the water.
yeah.
So I understand making the south important. Are there any, I can't think, but maybe we'll see when we go out and view, are there any houses up there on Bishop's Rise that low? I thought,
That high?
well, that down early in the road.
I got you.
Oh, close to, you mean that close to the road?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that what he's seeing out of the back of his house is lovely, you know, moors and stuff. Because that's all vacant as far as this map shows.
One other thing, if I could point out to Mr. Chair, is just that we do have some wetlands, and I can make those, highlight those a little bit better, just in terms of restraint of kind of rotating or whatnot. But I also think that, I think it would be helpful to show you where the existing house is, because it's essentially in a very similar location. And again, selfishly, you know, the more you kind of move things around, you start cutting and filling, it just becomes complex from a construction perspective and also incredibly expensive. And, not that that necessarily is.
It looks like you're on a plateau there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what, like if you slid it back, what's the cutting and filling?
Well, I'm just saying that in terms of, you know, yeah, if we're on that existing plateau, yeah.
The expense card's a little difficult to pull on this.
Yeah, I know, I was just gonna say, as I was saying that, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, and
But just the
No, we
whole
get it.
exercise is just,
Yeah.
if you don't have to do it, why?
Yeah.
I don't like the notion of moving a lot of dirt around or
Yeah.
cutting into the ground if we can.
We get you.
Okay.
So, all right, so viewing, and I'll get some topo, we do have it's not a finalized landscape plan, but I think it might be helpful.
Right, thanks. John, it looks like you have some
that
things
house
circled
now?
that you'd like to address, take up with Matt.
South elevation, left side, which is gonna be visible, up there on that, you got two skylights,
That house, everybody
should become one.
knows it go up.
Okay.
It's the cutest little.
Far right side, that, second floor, you have well, you got the same thing on the east elevation, left side up there. G windows, and then that general appearance like that, is a separate roof by itself, not connected to another one. It's typical to a farmhouse, chicken house. That's what it looks like.
Exactly, right.
You know? It's nice, and you know, crazy to call it, so. The other,
It's like a cupola, but it's
the other
extended.
is, on the north elevation, the front door should be changed to a 6-light. And west elevation, that's the other side of that chicken coop roof. You gotta do something with that. It's not appropriate, I don't think. You don't want it to look like a cupola up there.
Mr. Chair, can I just ask, can I clarify, when you said a 6-light for the front door, do you want a 6-panel or a 6-light for the front door?
He
What's
meant
that?
6-panel.
You said for the front door, it's a 2-panel right now. I thought you said 6-light, but do you want me to put glass in there, or you want
never
6
would've said
panels?
Would you,
6 light, it's
would-
6
do
panel.
you really think he said 6 light?
I don't know,
but
that's what I'm
you
saying.
just
So you want a
yanking his
6-panel?
chin?
6-panel
Well,
door?
something different than this.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, that's most appropriate to show where the front door is.
yeah, okay. I just,
No, when you said 2 panels, so it's okay.
right now, it's a solid 2-panel
Hey,
door.
John, just so you know, none of that's glass. That's all, that's a, okay, just making sure.
I got you, that's one.
And the other, your, casement window, D windows, wherever they are, they're all casements. This is casements. Where are the Ds? I just saw some Ds here.
I got you. The C type? Yeah, I'll make sure we get rid of those. I don't know exactly where they are. I think my coworkers just like to torture me with that one. What I think the rest.
Very successful.
Yeah.
They're on the east elevation in the center. There's there's 4 of them. 2
Right.
over 2.
Okay.
And may not much difference in the C or the others, but
I could easily make that a
it's
double
the
hung.
size, you know?
Yeah.
That's it, thank you.
Thanks, John. So, looking for some revisions, looking for some additional information, particularly on the site plan, and we're gonna read this one.
Okay.
I think also if you could find another place for the garage, I couldn't find one, but it's making it look even longer.
If I could, the one piece of that I thought I liked was the fact that it's basically like a story and a half, and we have that 1-story additive mass. That's where the topo drops off.
Yeah.
Correct.
Probably the most, and so I thought that by dropping to a 1-story element, we have some renderings I can show you. It helps out, but
Is it really attached? It isn't
It
attached?
is attached via breezeway.
like a
I believe.
breezeway. It's attached by
Attached
a
via
breezeway.
breezeway. Yeah,
It's just that when you're looking up from Mill Point
It all
Road, you get
looks-
that extra.
Yeah.
yeah,
But,
bump.
and what is that material of the foundation there?
Probably just deparged,
Parked, okay.
yeah. And we're near the wetland, and we've got a landscape plan there, but that topo, again, we're trying to utilize the existing topography. But, and the thing I like about that too is it almost kind of masks, it kind of hides, it doesn't hide the house, but it's like a 1-story element that kind of like brings up.
But Matt, in
Yeah.
point of fact, it's not a 1-story element, it's a story and a half.
The 1-story bump out on the.
From Eel Point.
From Eel Point,
It appears.
that one piece.
Oh, you mean the piece that projects furthest
Yeah.
north?
Yeah, so it's obviously a story.
Oh,
right now,
okay,
so-
I thought you meant the whole thing.
I missed something.
Hmm.
I just caught it. The second floor, all the way around, there are 8 decks. They're all curved.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You know, it doesn't hurt with a square, but looking, others, ones that we call them square. And there's one other thing, what was it?
I don't think
Oh,
we'll see them.
looking at it from, this is the west elevation, looking at it from the west elevation. You got 3 different decks here in line, which is normal. What is this one here? Is that a flat deck up there? or
that's
what?
yeah, that's a breezeway. It's a covered breezeway, but there is a cut-in deck there.
You mean like a second floor wall?
There's a walkway, so if you go from this deck, you can actually get from
Yeah,
this deck to the
exactly.
second floor of that. But I can show you some 3D models. I don't think it'll be visible from,
Hey, 3Ds would be extremely helpful, they
Yeah.
always are.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the decks come out to, he has, there's 30% 91, but he only has 77, so he's 15 feet below the average.
He's under. That's a
You gotta
first.
put more decks on there.
So you're saying more decks?
13 more feet.
That's what I heard.
Okay, so, can I have a motion?
Motion to hold for revisions
Yeah, and a
Oh, for
site
a view,
viewing.
are we
The
doing-
site view, yeah.
or, and view.
Okay,
Some
all those in
3Ds.
favor of Diane's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Hold for revisions and review.
What happens to 3 and 4?
Back to Logan's, right?
We're going back.
Yeah, I think that was the plan.
Motion to take up number 3, 1 Low Beach Road,
Right.
and then 4, 9 Kendrick.
Is Luke here, isn't she?
Yeah, Carrie is here.
So this is a preliminary review. The Prairie House, 1 Low Beach.
We're going back to this one,
Stretchers, okay.
and then we're gonna do this one.
Is it like, it's beyond the Coast Guard station?
This is preliminary
No, it's
review.
before, it's right, the first house after Maury Lane.
No way.
It's gonna
Well,
change.
I love that house.
it's cool.
Are you moving it back?
We're trying to move it back.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
needs
this
to be
is.
moved back.
Okay, well, that's what this point is. We haven't done the design work yet, but we wanted
That
to make
is
sure.
so cool. I'm so glad that's getting some attention.
We want to move it back and add a porch, and then add doors that face the water on the port side, like you would have on Baxter Road. Like
Yeah.
the older houses on
Yeah,
Baxter Road.
that's such a great house.
I'm sure you had 4 sets of that, Lisa, at some point, right?
I did.
I got,
They had them at the.
Shab
Yeah. I don't know if they did.
as Port of Call built in 1923. The comments are, they have no concern on the proposed move. And I guess Alex Steller was there, and you. And all 4 guys were there for the meeting. Rob Benchley, Carol Ellis, Angus McLeod, Mary Wills. Michael was not there. So, what are you liking us to consider?
Well, the,
Yeah, I know.
I know,
I drive
apparently they
bicycle
lost,
by it every
the
day.
Wisconsin Advisory lost all the site plans.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wisconsin Advisory
right.
had 4 copies of the site plan, and we don't have them right now. So we're working.
We don't have all the information for preliminary.
Yeah, we're waiting. The applicant submitted the information, but Wisconsin Advisory apparently liked it so much that they took it home with them.
Yeah, they had it when I met with
Discuss
them.
it.
Yeah.
Can't see it.
Diane has one copy of
Can't
it.
see it, Manuel. Don't even, he doesn't even say what they're doing, you know, it says
Well, it's-
preliminary hearing.
Well, I just said,
Can you
with
see it?
the goal is
Yeah.
to move the building
Yes.
back from the
Can
road.
I pass that?
Yeah, there is the,
well, do we
Existing.
have to hold
This
for
is the
that?
new-
Do we know?
Can I pass?
Well, you're
Yeah.
not officially voting.
I'm
There's no
passing
application
around
in.
my
We're-
copy.
Oh, you
It's a
have?
very simple site.
Oh,
plan.
good. Okay,
So
good.
Yeah.
basically,
I'll come
John.
over, I'll come over there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
This is-
okay.
No.
This is the existing
Shown dotted.
In red
location.
dots.
John, existing, and they're proposing to move it back
And add a porch.
and add a porch.
Wanted to get the concept of adding a porch and make
And you're
sure that that
shifting
was.
it to
Preliminary.
face further south?
We're rotating it to look towards, yeah, is that south?
South,
Yeah, a little bit because of the width.
Down Low
Yeah,
Beach
see
for
that?
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's, it doesn't
rather
say
than straight
anything.
ahead.
I read it all.
No, I know, but I was gonna see if he, Wisconsin Advisory has no concerns.
My question, do they plan to
I just.
come back and make changes after the
do.
permit?
They do, I didn't put an official application in, but they do plan to make changes. We just wanted to make sure that moving it off the property line was going to be approvable
That's yours.
before we go through all the design work.
As long as you're within the 5-foot or 10-foot setback.
It's in the setback, we'll have to go to the ZBA.
Okay.
Is that, why, I'm just curious, why did they decide to not have it parallel to the road?
Couple
Because of the
reasons.
view or something?
Yeah, the view is better. I mean, there happens to be sort of a high point right in front of the house, but it also, the neighbor is right on the property line. John
The Reed house?
Reed House.
Yeah.
The front isn't, but the back is right on the
Yeah.
property line, so
Oh,
it gets
theirs
a
is a
little
little
tight.
askew too.
Theirs is
isn't it?
askew.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, we're not proposing to make this the same rotation as that house. It's going to be close, but not identical, because I think it'll look more organic if they're not exact.
And Lisa, that, it looks like the new porch will be set back approximately the same as the front corner as the neighbors.
Yeah, let me look at the site plan and I can tell you that.
Sure.
Sorry.
Oh, it is.
What are we voting on
Yeah.
today? Are we voting
Nothing,
on
you're just
anything today or
discussing it.
just-
No,
just
there's no,
discussing it?
there's no applications, so we're just
Which-
actually wanting to make
Do we
sure
think-
before they close that you
Okay.
guys are receptive to moving the house
Yeah.
back. That's the biggest
Do you
question.
want to take a poll, Diane, on what we think or something? Like,
Yeah,
would that
that'd
be
be,
helpful?
Yes.
or everybody speak and then we talk back and forth, I think what we
You good with it?
like.
I'm good with it, yeah.
Okay. I would suggest that moving that back approximately the same, which appears to be approximately the same as the neighbor, it brings a little more conformity in that neighborhood. This is really close to the street. I think it would be appropriate.
Steve, just to point out, I have another sketch here. It's actually much further back than the neighboring house. Just because of the way the angle of their house is, and the road.
Oh, right, but dimensionally from the road, if you did
Yes,
90
if
from
you
the
took
road,
that
it's
and that, it's
approximately. Yeah, I mean, I'm not to the foot or anything.
Yeah,
but
okay, I just didn't want you to think.
This
it was
one
that
is so,
far.
the existing one, Low Beach, is so much closer to the road than the neighbor,
Yeah.
and it doesn't look like the trend there is to be building close to the road.
Well, and interestingly, when you go down Ocean Avenue, looking down towards Low Beach, it's like right there. It'd be kind of nice if you get it further back. I think it'll open the view up a little bit.
Oh, no, it's
Yeah.
nice for everybody. It's win-win. The whole corner kind of opens up.
Yeah.
It's kind of cramped there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Madam Chairperson, I'll make a motion, we give this back to them and recommend that they submit it with the application
With our comments,
with their comments at that time. Yes.
with our comments.
Our comments, yes.
okay, let me just see if Abby said everything, whether she's for it or against
Yeah, I'm 110% for it.
it. Okay. And you, Steve, are
Yeah, I think it's
for
an
it?
appropriate change.
Okay, and Johnny, you're for it too? All right, so that's
And
the
you as
feeling
well?
in the poll of the group,
And you as well, Diane?
yes.
Okay. Great. Perfect. And that'll be in some sort of a minute,
Thank you.
Yes,
Terry, even though it's not voted on, Terry?
And we will
Missed it.
remember.
Get up right now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Lisa?
Okay,
Have a nice day.
so, it's warm out there.
Okay, Carey Street.
I thought there were two blotted chilies in this.
One was handled before you arrived. She just wanted to make sure that you were in on the second one. Hi.
Yeah, last night,
Oh.
Gillian said
Hey, Karen.
you made some bad decisions, so everybody
Yeah,
was talking.
AC's always cranky.
I was making, I just lost it.
Okay,
My
Kansas Street.
stamina level.
Window change.
So Carrie, let's see what you're here for.
I'm
Window
here
changes.
for a big old house in Tom Nevers
Mm-hmm.
that has 6/6 Brasco windows, and they want to change them to Andersons.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, they want to change them to 6/1.
Surreal.
Yeah,
The Simpsons landscape.
I didn't do anything but white out. Could you
It's
try
really
putting
funny.
a trunk?
Yeah. Okay, so all the casings and everything, we don't need to comment on those.
No, they're gonna keep them the same colors. In
Yeah.
the rear of the house, there's a screened porch right now, and they wanna put in glass and make it a 3-season porch.
Okay, so that,
So those look like they do now, but they just wanna put in glass.
Like crankouts?
No, they would be gliding. Right now, they're
Oh,
individual
oh.
screens.
Oh, those are gliders?
Separated by a skinny little,
oh,
thing, and then they just wanna change them into
these are
two.
screens.
Those are screens right now, and they wanna
see.
make them glass.
Got it.
And
Okay.
the glass that it would convert to would be those gliding. So
Yeah.
it's like a
So
little.
one goes
mini-
to the-
Yes.
And
Right.
Carrie, what of this can you see from, it looks like a
Well,
lot
I
of
have a
scrub, maybe
picture
the second,
that my
third
phone is
floor.
gonna die in a second, but that's from the road down the driveway. You see the end piece where the mudroom is?
Very well.
Which elevation is it? It's the,
North.
it's the east that you
Oh,
could
east is what you're
possibly
looking at?
see from the street.
That photo there is from.
That's from the road, right at the beginning of the
This
driveway.
here is taken to your advantage.
Oh, she's
Well-
a sly one.
If you move to the right more, you can see more of the
Here,
inside of the
here's
property.
moving to the right more. It's really not much of a difference.
The same thing.
What's the same thing?
Nothing wrong with the sign, so what difference?
Well, look at the,
They're agree- I'm just
That.
saying- I'm just saying.
yeah,
Statement.
no, I get it. Of course, I would take the best advantage, but
shrewd.
it's not, there's truly.
Carrie, there's two kinds of images that applicants provide. Either they don't provide them or they're to their advantage.
Or you could go and stand there and look yourself.
I'm
That's
teasing.
an option.
I don't think, that-
I'm teasing.
personally, I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah,
So let's go around,
Motion to
Stephen.
approve it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
there
totally
you go.
appropriate.
Oh, John, giving me a
Thanks,
hard
John.
time for no reason.
No, I'm expressing what I'm supposed to do.
Yes. Okay, so John's made a motion to approve this application. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
Matt, you're back up, friend.
I'll be back when we do
Carrie,
it.
we'll see you around.
Say hi to them.
Okay, so our bus shelter stuff.
Yes. Oh, bus shelter.
Under my umbrella. I heard you over there.
Try to keep it down. If you feel like singing, you can't hold it back.
No more shelter now.
Guess break out acapella. HTC the musical.
That was pretty good.
We employed it
Pretty
by
talented.
August year.
She grabbed the mics.
It's a bus shelter. Out in front of the Academy Hill. Or not Academy Hill. Landmark, sorry.
Okay,
So,
okay.
In front of the asylum.
go whenever you're ready. Mr. Chair.
We're ready. Go for
Okay,
it.
thank you. So these are the NERDA bus shelters are looking to add 2 additional bus shelters this year, primarily because they're going to start year-round service this fall. So you had seen these in a preliminary review probably about 3 weeks ago, and we made some modifications based on some of your feedback. Not to rehash a lot of that, but basically there was a desire to have some level of consistency with these structures, but also have some variety in terms of their detailing. Bigger picture here for these units, basically what we've done is gone with a simple gable structure. All the framing would be exposed, they're not insulated. And so we're kind of looking at somewhat of a similar like a pole barn construction methodology. Probably going to utilize perma columns, which are conducive to a slab, so these will be on a slab. We have to make sure that they're accessible, and so there will be a slight sloped slab underneath the pergola portion, and then once you get into the actual shelter itself, it's level. They do have red cedar roofs. We have integrated the pergola per our discussion so that they can actually charge the battery. It's a PV panel that's inset on top of the, it'll be flush with the top of the pergola. So you won't see, it doesn't really show up in elevation. I know that there was some feedback regarding the one that's been built downtown behind the strip.
Right.
And you wanted us to, maybe, we could easily put some either 1x6 on the underside. We do like the idea of potentially, the way that the shadows are cast from the PV panels, we think is really interesting, and it, in some ways, is a little bit of promoting the notion of renewable energy sources. So if there's if there's great opposition to the notion of seeing the underside of the panel, we'll certainly cover it up.
Okay.
One last piece, there's these little small mechanical sheds in the back of the structure, and that's to house the battery pack. That's all I got, Mr. Chair.
So, Matt, what's the sidewall?
It's I think it's 1x8 cedar.
Shiplap or what?
I think it's a V groove. It's a V joint.
V joint, okay.
Could do shiplap, really open to discussion there.
All right. Now,
Could also shingle them too.
Yeah.
What's that?
You could shingle it too. Is it trim all natural?
I think we actually have it as white in this location, but again, these are the details we're open to. Does it say white on the application?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
gray now? It's gray.
Does it say gray?
No, it says white.
It's at the discretion of the board.
Okay. All right. What do we think about this, folks?
I love it,
You like?
yeah.
Sidewall, you like the,
I prefer shingle.
prefer shingle? Okay.
I think it's a little tall. I think you could, what do you got, 8 foot on your
Plate.
plate? I mean, you guys had mentioned
Oh.
keeping heat and stuff in there. If you came down 6 inches, 7.6, you got plenty of room to get in, and
Totally fine with that.
What does that do to the roof? What does that do to the pitch, though?
No, the whole thing just comes down a
Oh,
little bit.
okay.
What Stephen's saying is from here to here is actually quite tall.
What is that?
Taller than it needs to be.
Yeah.
We'll see if this is
10'4".
10.4.
What is that?
Yeah,
yeah,
so
so 27 inches roughly.
What if, one of those, big
Oh.
basketball players?
Actually,
That's a great
it's
point, Abby.
it's only 7 feet, Steve.
Well,
It
you know
is?
that guy that works
Yeah,
at the Dreamland?
the opening You know, the opening going in is 7 feet tall.
Well, then leave it. I thought it was, we did the math.
I thought it was 8, yeah.
think
If it was 8, we could have dropped it, but yeah.
It comes up to 8
LeBron.
if you do the math.
Yeah.
I'll have to stand outside.
Manute Bowl, remember him?
Manute would have a tough time.
Okay, so then you're okay with the
Yeah,
height,
yeah.
just given that it's only 7 feet to the underside of the beam? Okay, John?
That comment is, I don't think any reason that I can think of that this, what you call it,
Pergola?
is appropriate, because why don't they just do it simple, save the town a little money, match the one that's down on Pleasant Street, same thing.
Oh, well, the whole reason for the pergola, John, is because it has solar stuff on top, and we didn't want to see that. So it's hiding that.
Okay, all right, if I'm gonna go further, I'll ask a question.
Okay.
What purpose is it serve to put electricity in the building? The others never have.
No, because they need lighting. Go
So
ahead.
these will be now part of the year-round service, and so they'll be running after dark, basically, and for safety reasons, we need to provide light.
So can I ask a question as a follow-up on that? So by doing this, we're saving the town money of having to run power to these locations?
Yeah, I mean, also trenching and connecting.
Everything these people that work for the town do is for the
This is-
government.
Stop.
for the health
Just for
public,
going
you know.
in town, right?
Or out.
Where do you get from?
If it's out, then they gotta cross the street there, and I don't think there's a crosswalk at that spot.
It's a great question. I would think that there's, if you're going outbound, I'll have to look at that, but I assume that you'd be able to catch
Where they
it
stop
outbound.
now is on Dave, right at the corner of
Yeah.
Dave and Orange across the street, so there is the difference.
I guess if you're at Greenhound, that would be the
No,
primary
but
hub.
this is a good
for-
start. I mean, this is a
Yeah.
good start to okay this, and maybe they put in a crosswalk and they,
That was my assumption, Diane. I might be incorrect in that, so I would not take my answer to heart.
Motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, all those in favor of Stephen's
Aye.
motion?
Single-
Oh, hold on. So Abby thought that a shingle might be more appropriate than the horizontal board, particularly if it's V-groove, and I actually tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I think shingles.
Okay, so,
Subject to changing the sidewall to shingle.
oh, good, thank
yeah,
you.
thanks. All those in favor of Stephen's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Chairman, I abstain.
You abstain, okay. Thank you, John. You get that, get that, Terry?
It's absolutely,
I couldn't spell sidewalk for me. Go ahead.
oh,
It's been a long week.
Sure
Is
has.
that a unanimous?
John
no,
abstains.
John is,
John's abstaining.
Okay, so that's-
What abstention. Excuse me.
More bus stops?
Oh, that was a pretty big on the side meter. That was pretty big on the side meter. Side, what?
is this pro bono work? No, just a little bit.
Well, not really, no.
Hey, look, it's almost the same thing.
Now we are on Pleasant Street.
Thanks,
Oh.
Brian.
This is the other one. This is the
Yes.
outbound lane.
This is in front of Cape Cod 5,
Right.
corner of Dave and Lower Pleasant. And we used essentially the same dimension and size and style. We did throw a small vent at the top there. One thought was, this is just up for discussion, and I didn't draw this, but I thought about this and be interested in everyone's feedback, was for this one, because it's in a more densely populated area and higher commercial use, and also Cape Cod 5 being a bit more ornate for the rake details. I didn't know if we would maybe consider doing like a gutter or trying to increase the level of detail for this one to make it look slightly different. That was the intent there, but I didn't go that far, so I was just curious to see what the board thought of that.
Okay, kids. What do you think?
Is the, say on the west elevation, is that the same dimensions as the one we just passed?
Yes.
I think this is identical to the other,
Identical?
except for the fact that
Eventually.
it's
The
got a
cupola.
cupola
Yeah.
on it.
Thank you.
Any further comment?
No, I was just, that was a general
I,
question.
do have comment.
Go. Love to hear it.
This is Cape Cod parking lot,
It's adjacent to it,
right?
yes.
Well, if the town didn't own that corner, it would be part of the parking lot.
Yeah.
The parking lot for Cape Cod Times is overly lit. So, number one, is that going to affect the solar panels that are going to be subject to that lighting all the time? Or could we say they gotta reduce their lighting? Which is what we've asked them to do for 3 years and they haven't done it yet.
That's true.
It is an independent parcel. I mean, I would say that the amount of lighting that Cape Cod 5 has now, I don't think would be enough to light this enclosure effectively. It's really going to be illuminated from the inside, from a safety perspective. That's why we have the windows as well. So I would say that we would still have the same requirement for lighting. There's definitely going to be more ambient light would be due to the proximity of the parking lot, but the areas where we need it the most, it probably would not be sufficient to light this. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah,
Diane.
that was good. Yeah, because there's going to be, I mean, you walk into a sort of a dark space and it's not going to have the, the direct light from the
No, not
street.
from the, right,
So it
not
might
from the
actually
parking lot.
make a shadow.
I don't love the cupola. I think the cupola overwhelms this teeny tiny little structure.
Too big.
Second that.
I could lose it. Or go smaller was the other thing. I don't know if that's too cute.
I
was
think
debating
it's,
the
I
cute.
think it's too cute.
I think the first one you did was like perfect.
Yeah,
It's just,
I could lose it.
I'll make a motion to approve it without a cupola.
Okay.
and shingles too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, instead of right now he's drawn horizontal boards on there. And we were thinking shingles would be better on the sidewall. See that hard, is that okay?
Well, actually,
What?
I know. I'm just thinking, what, around that area where you've got that, what is that building? Is that the pizza place or is that the pizza place?
That's
That's
the
the pizza place.
Nantucket
That's
Bank.
Sophie
And what's-
T's, that's the,
Or, yeah, Nantucket Bank was in there for a while on
And
the
and what
first
are,
floor.
what are
Shingle,
the,
shingle white trim, and then the bank is,
clapboard, is it? Or
The
not?
bank
A
has
lot of those
clabbered.
things are
It's got like a cobblestone gray clabbered.
it's
yeah.
nasty.
Chicken
I could go
boxes.
either way on that.
Who approved that?
Okay, I think the shingles is safe.
Okay, good.
Okay, so John has made a motion to approve this application without the cupola and and changing the sidewall to white cedar shingle. All those in favor of John's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now on to Blackfish.
Can,
Yes, Stephen?
I don't know, I bit my tongue, but I'm gonna just, can I speak on the motion after the motion?
You'd have to reopen the item.
You want me to?
I'm looking at the Cape Cod 5, I'll just make a general comment, you can decide. And it's just, it's got like a more formal, I don't know, I just think a shingle thing is gonna sit there and it's gonna look out of place.
Shingle clapboard?
It's gonna look the shingled siding on that particular building it's gonna look more like a wart than
That's
a,
what I was kind of wondering.
Okay, so let's reopen this, because it sounds like you guys might want to go back to the original sidewall. Can I have a motion to reopen?
Motion to reopen.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely, that's what went through my head. I was
Yeah.
thinking, what is on that corner? And it's clapboard. So
yeah,
I think
I don't know
the
that
V
what was
group.
proposed is the most appropriate, but it's just relative to
And
this.
I would do it similar to those colors too. I would do something like an off, whatever that is.
then you're risking having it look like a little annex for Cape
Yeah.
Cod 5.
That's true. What color would it be then?
a gray maybe.
Yeah.
Gray.
That's like a cobblestone, something more muted.
Gray and white, or
White trim.
Could be like gray on gray. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, with a little
Seen that.
better, with a little more detailing, subject to.
If you want, we can hold this one for revisions, because I have another thought. I thought about actually adding the gutter return and then maybe going with the clapboard.
Motion to hold for revisions.
And then like a gray, either a gray on gray or a gray on white. I mean,
yeah, something simple.
Hang on a second.
sorry.
Hey, John. John, so you actually had a motion on the table, and now he wants to reconsider doing some things. Could you withdraw, are you okay with
You
withdrawing
already
your motion?
opened it, so,
What?
you reopened it, so
Oh.
his,
I made a motion.
which superseded his motion, so.
Okay, so the motion now
Is to hold for revisions.
is to hold for some revisions. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Come up with a
reconsidering.
color scheme
Stop,
too.
beat something to death.
You're good.
Oh, these are new. Thank
You
you.
might be in that bus station.
I'd written it all because it's gone through the
Okay.
road.
You're getting ninja with these deliveries, John.
Blackfish
see
Sconset
ya.
Advisory. Guys ready for this?
Yes, sir.
All right. It says no concerns, but then it also says, please rethink color. Nice massing and design, would much rather see green trim, especially being adjacent to rural setting, or at least gray. What, so you must be proposing white, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, that was Sconset Advisory.
Just as improvable colors, I think white's the one that's on there.
It's the only one. Everyone wants white. So, I'll just keep my comments very brief.
Yeah.
You're familiar with Blackfish?
Yep.
You know where the lot is. And, tried to make it as contextual as possible. Any of my comments, you have to take on, Mr. Chairman?
Anybody feel like diving into
I
this?
have only one thing to say.
Go ahead.
I think that on the south elevation, that roof pitch is sort of shallow. Is there any way to put some detail on it, or is that a cross section?
That's a cross.
That's a
section.
cross section.
Yeah, that's through here.
Oh, okay.
All right, now, so the last application we saw of yours, not the bus shelter, but before that, had the garage, it was connected by a breezeway, but you had it all as one application. It seems that now this one, for some reason, you're doing as two applications, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we're actually looking at this garage that's shown on these plans as a separate application right after this. Not that it matters.
I think it's very appropriate to deny.
Okay. That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Diane, you ready?
I don't know.
Want me to come back to you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, was that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. John?
Yeah, I have one comment, the east elevation.
Mm-hmm.
The front door should become something other than that glass door, because it's facing east towards the road. And also on the south and west. On one side, you got it? Okay, the south elevation,
Yeah.
left side, two light windows.
Oh, yeah, the transom there.
Jack it up so you get a 303s up there, get two of them instead of three.
Would it make any difference to you, John, if those were fixed, or do you still want to see them taller?
Probably, myself, I think they're appropriate. But into the style of architecture that we've had here for years, although it's just outside the HCC area of Wisconsin.
Yeah. So you want them taller, right? The windows, you want taller,
Visible from the south elevation.
okay? Anything else, John?
No, that's all right.
Okay, thanks. Stephen?
Yeah, it's appropriate, I think it's appropriate design, I think it's actually gonna be kind of an improvement to some of the massing in the neighborhood. Matt, excuse me, the dormer transoms that John's referring to, are those gonna be visible
I
from the cul-de-sac?
don't think from the cul-de-sac, but maybe from the,
You know,
I think maybe from
you want to
the
know whether.
conservation land.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, I was just curious for context.
I don't think they would be visible from Blackfish at all.
No.
All right, so that weighs in my decision. Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Sorry. What was your comment? I missed it.
Too chatty.
You love it.
I know.
I
had
was
a
just
ver-
whether the transoms were visible, and if so, from where, and Matt said likely not Blackfish because of the massing, and perhaps from conservation land.
Okay. Diane, you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
This is just a picky thing, picky. North elevation. Your dormer, that's closest to your gable,
Yes?
the meeting rail and the eave do not match. It is up because of those two things. I would like to see the windows going further on that same north elevation. I would like to see those two A windows separated.
On the north elevation?
Yes,
Do you mean the F windows in
No,
that
I
little
mean-
gable?
yes, the F windows on the little
Okay.
one
Yep.
there. It's maybe just the CAD drawing, but it seems like the panels of glass in the French doors are very long and skinny.
Oh,
They are.
yeah, you get a double. I don't know what the deal with- I don't know what the alternative, I think if a single would look strange.
I do too. I wondered whether they made them any wider, because it looks like you have room in places. They just seem long, that's all.
Okay.
And
Look at options.
I will forgive all your other mulled windows.
I looked at that east elevation.
I see
Oh, the east elevation is loaded now.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
Loaded.
It's a gang of gangs.
That's
Yes,
You know what it is? The massing, I did, the composition and fenestration, when it just works, and I understand that, but it looked chaotic.
well, they're under the roof
Yeah,
of the
Yeah.
porch, so they're not going to be so
sorry, I didn't,
evident. That's
I
right.
was looking on,
Can I get, yeah, you were
I'm
okay.
very happy with
Um,
it.
yeah, so do you want to make some minor
Sure.
revisions to this for us?
Jim,
Yes, sir.
another comment.
Oh,
I collated this,
yeah,
and that the windows are up here,
yes.
and the visibility is from this corner, from here to here. This and here is gonna pick that up, you're gonna see right through here, and this one here is gonna pick up from Blackfish Lane.
Well, so,
So it will be
I
visible.
breezeway there too. But
yeah,
I think that there's a breezeway that connects those two, John, but I can certainly look at that. We can look at it through the
we're
model.
just gonna
Yeah.
try and do a couple of
Tweaks.
So, some very minor changes to this.
Okay.
John, you want to make that motion for some minor revisions?
Most of the vision here.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
You want to hold the garage to track because it's a separate app, but it was.
Yeah, we actually
Yeah.
already saw it and
Yeah.
really didn't have anything
Motion to
say
hold the
about it.
garage to trap.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no, but I didn't take a vote on John's motion.
sorry.
John's motion was to hold the main house for revisions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then Steve's motion was to hold the garage to track main house. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks. Okay,
Thank you.
See you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt, you make it easy.
Yeah. Okay, Mirka, you're up. Oh, this was our thing, right. The thing. Okay, what do we all think about this one? You all remember the issue? Actually, do we have a board on this one?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I don't have a problem with it.
Last one.
I was on it, you were on it, weren't you?
Yeah,
1 minute.
Yeah.
I don't know the minutes if.
and if I believe so, you all were on it, because,
Were we?
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe DJ, one of those gentlemen was on it. Maybe, I know, but Steven was on it, that's for sure.
Steve was on it.
I think Josh, Jeff,
Jesse?
I think Jesse was on
was
it.
on it.
Okay, but so
Okay, hold on.
the important thing is that the people that are sitting at this table right now, if we were all on it, then we're good to go.
I think we have a quorum, it's just a miracle.
Oh, definitely have a quorum. I just want to know who's actually going to vote on it.
Paul, Combs, McLaughlin, Camp, and Welch.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, what do we think about it?
You want me to read what you were talking about?
All right.
Okay,
There were some revisions, basically.
There wanted, Mr. Welch wanted confirmation on the location of the gate as being in a private way.
Which we have an update on.
We
So-
do? Oh,
Well, I did talk to Steve Cohen, who represents
Mhm.
the client. He will send in the letter with the explanation why is it okay. They have the owner owns both lots, and they have a right to use that for their purposes. So he said it's okay, and he will file the letter with you guys, send
Okay.
you to the files, that
All
it's
right.
okay. He just didn't have a time to do it on such a short notice, because I just asked him yesterday.
well, so we can add as part of our motion that we'll need a letter from Stephen just validating the fact that
Yeah.
that's on private property as opposed to town land. Right?
Yep, the town
Okay.
has no rights or claim to it,
Right.
subject to the
And now how about the visibility of the other items?
That was basically the 5 foot 6 inch board fence.
Correct.
no issue. I was over there this afternoon, I
Okay.
had no issues with it. I appreciate John's diligence, but
You
It's
went
all
over
right.
there?
Because I didn't get there.
yeah, I went over, anything from Monway Road is gonna be obliterated, even in the winter by that privet growing up. But, I mean, John was just doing his job to highlight something that wasn't consistent, so we gotta make a decision, and I would vote to approve it.
Yeah, we can't pull the teeth out of our pit bull.
Yeah,
That's you.
Oh. They're yanked.
We like the
Yanked
teeth.
up.
We like the teeth.
no, it's good to be, you know, gotta keep track of this stuff.
Okay, John, any further comment?
Yes, I went out there and walked the property, not outside the property,
Hopefully.
and
You ducked, I threw that stone, you didn't.
Is Richmond here?
I saw your footprints on the land. And the 5'6" horizontal board
Yeah.
is not appropriate, I can think of anywhere.
Are you talking about the fence?
Talking about the fence as you look in from right here, this fence right here, right, and this gate. And I think if you do anything in there, that's going to be awful high. And we shouldn't start approving this type of fence, we haven't yet. We shouldn't start making a precedent.
Well, the idea was that it would be invisible.
That's what shows us authority that
Yeah.
we have. But the other, I think the whole strip of that's gonna be seen, and I don't think we should start it. That's all. What's the matter, what's the difference if you put in a picket fence with a cap?
Wasn't the fence previously approved, we're just talking about the
Yeah.
height difference?
Yeah, the fence
Yeah.
was approved. It's 4
Subject,
feet.
subject to screening, John.
What was approved?
The
4
fence,
feet.
the,
What?
fence.
What?
4 feet fence was
This.
approved.
This style was approved at 4 feet, subject to screening. And then John found it to be taller, so that's why it's here. This style is previously approved at 4 feet.
This style.
Yeah, just so you're aware. Subject to screening.
yeah, the whole idea was that this would be fully screened.
Who, do we have the original application?
I think, is there one staple?
I think it's a staple up there.
No. Because I'd love to see who signed
Is
it.
it? No.
That's,
I don't
you
know
know,
the application, but
Oh, no, it's
Well,
okay.
is the point that you can see it now?
I just wanted to see.
Why can't we
See
do
it.
more vegetation then?
It's actually heavily vegetated and planted. It's a new installation, but the trees are already planted at 8 feet high. There is combination, Stephen and John went there, there's combination of cedars, American hollies, viburnum, and bayberries. It's a fresh installation,
Yeah.
just planted in June, so
So it's kind of spotty?
exactly, you can still see a little through it, but it's pretty
talking about
thick
a tiny bit.
as it is right now,
Well,
so.
that's what's happened to Sankaty too. The pool we said okay to, you can see the pool right through the privet, but it's because the privet just got, but, so you
Where in
get
Sankaty?
Upper Sankaty where we approved the pool, going out of Sconset.
Private residence.
Yeah,
Is that?
yeah, the one
Well,
on the
he's not
right.
gonna sign it off then.
Well, because right now you can look right in there. And
Yeah,
if you're
so
going by
that's
in
the
a
whole,
car, you
that's
see.
the whole point of this, if he goes out and does an inspection and you can see the pool through the vegetation. you
Why
can-
can't we ask, I mean.
You cannot see the pool, and the fence is, to Abby's point, like, it's already a row of thick privet there, and there's another 10 feet of vegetation, so it's green. If you are going to look for it, so of course you will find it
Yeah.
right now, but I think
Look up from the
I did really as good as I could not, without overplanting it, the space,
The-
because I want to make sure the plants grow.
The reason that we held this was
Yeah.
to view it, because by John's own admission, it was really difficult to see any of the fence because the vegetation is so dense.
Did anybody view it other than me?
I didn't, well, Steve did.
Steve did.
Steve, your neighbor.
He needs glasses.
Well, I think that, well, since you guys saw it, why don't you help us here? I mean, once this screening grows, will it disappear? I mean, or
Yeah, but now I'm looking at something else. Look, I went and looked at it, and you can even see from the images that what you're seeing, if you look at the second image down, and you see a horizontal piece of wood
Yeah.
Yeah.
traversing left to right from center, that is actually part of a pergola or something. Those are within the yard space. They're not part of the fence. The top of the fence is almost invisible here. What you can see are some slats being filtered, the horizontal slats as you drive by or you walk by. The fence is almost fully obscured.
Okay.
Where you see it more is from the ocean side in the distance. But it's so obscured. But then I just. And then we're approving the gates, which are changed to horizontal versus picket, but they're within the yard behind the
Yeah,
same screening.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to be clear because I didn't realize that. John pointed that out. I want to make sure I understood.
When you say gate, you mean the person gate or the vehicular
The
gate?
person gates at the Monomoy Road fence, there are two gates, one on each end.
That's,
Within the
Yeah, and
yard.
those are vertical board.
yeah.
Right, those were originally
These
approved
two.
as picket.
Where is this fence?
So the
I
only
can show
thing
it to you
is,
on that.
Where is that, Steve? Where is this gate?
the issue
That
is
gate
that
is
you can see
proposed
it
to
from the
be-
water?
Here.
You can see it from the water.
And right now it's
But we're.
freshly built, so it's kind of little brighter. It will better, and then we are going to have plants planted on it, which they just didn't grow as high. I had tall grasses and roses going on it, and plus we are putting actually 2 more trees into pool garden, so everything will be softening the
Is there a
sense.
better time we could view this
It
when
must
it's,
have been open
I mean,
and
I don't know.
sold
I wonder if we could
both these things.
view this in
Okay.
months or something and see if it's
Because I
grown.
just didn't want to sign it. So
Oh, this will be more like next spring. If you really look for the better look, like you know how the shingles better
What
with
it's
the house, you,
called
it's just
So
like on
it's 4
season.
foot, it's 4 feet high?
The gates are 4 feet.
Oh, the gate.
The gates are 4 feet, the fence it's
Yeah.
5, and it's over 5. It's 5, I put it 5'6", but it's over 5.
What if you
It-
took off one of those boards and made it 4 foot?
It's already built, and that was something, it was kind of happened behind my, it just happened while it's builder was building fence and the client's kind of
Are we
to
beating a
add an
dead
extra
horse?
slot?
I think so. I
Okay,
mean,
thank you.
if we approve this, my suggestion was gonna be that it's not visible. It's screened at time of inspection, which it will be, heavily screened at time of inspection and thereafter. So that 5'6" fence, that's a horizontal band, all of a sudden, someone doesn't go in there at a later time and decide to put privet in there and cut it down to 3 feet, and then we have this, what would be an atypical band of fence showing 2.5 feet tall.
Well, isn't it in perpetuity, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thereafter, the same thing. And then I just want to make a comment, because Diane did point something out to me. I would personally feel more comfortable holding the gate to the back road, because it is identified as Shimo Drive on the
And
paper.
You mean
So-
holding, removing it from this approval?
Yeah.
And waiting for the verdict, the legal?
Yeah, because I didn't realize it was actually a named road,
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, I'm not suggesting you are incorrect or anything. I just wouldn't feel comfortable approving
It's a
something that
paper road.
may have a,
Sounds good.
I'd rather
Look
get the
on
letter
your
from the
small
attorney.
sheet. I can
That-
do it at the same time. I can submit it
I see.
separately with the letter and all the
That'd be great.
legwork.
It looks, that's
It's
the
there.
gate right there, actually.
So, no problem.
Like
And
this,
it looks like this?
looks like that, yeah. Okay, so Diane, did you want to say anything on this?
No, I just, Shimo Drive, which is on your small sheet, is a paper road that until Anderson's sold both these properties, didn't exist. It was not there. Now we've opened up another thing. I would like to see some sort of survey, wouldn't you, that says
That it's gone?
that it's gone, that we can open it, that they bought it at a yard sale, something, just so that we're
Right.
not on somebody else's property.
And that's the letter that I'm talking about. We're saying the same thing in different ways.
Yeah.
So, but the long and short of this discussion is that we will remove that from any approval that we grant.
Yeah.
gate.
Right now.
For
And I
now.
can cross it. I'm happy to cross it.
Well, maybe,
Okay.
why don't you make,
Are you going to, Abby?
And I
All
can
right,
do it now, right after the
sh-
meeting.
shall I, okay, I will say, motion to approve without the gate, the vertical, what? Oh,
I would say that without the driveway gate, because they also have people gates in there.
okay,
that we
without
are
the
gonna approve.
driveway gate on the Shimo paper road.
Yeah, okay. All those in favor of Abby's motion?
Screening,
Oh,
and, yeah, heavy screening at time of inspection and thereafter for the horizontal band fence, 5'6".
very good.
You got it?
Yep. All
got
those in
that, Terry?
favor of
And then I
Abby's,
didn't catch what he said, because he said it too fast and mumbled it to his ear.
Screening, at time, heavy screening at time of inspection thereafter at the 5'6" board and bent horizontal fence, or the board fence, horizontal board fence.
Is it 5'6" or?
it is,
Yeah.
okay? All those in favor of Abby's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Are you,
Oh, no, I have a comment.
okay? I know.
Mein Kampf ist nein kaputt. That's all I'm saying.
Mein Kampf?
Mein Kampf ist nein kaputt.
That means, my struggle,
1944.
my struggle is not over.
Not broken.
Good man,
Yeah.
you got it.
And who would have thought that it was?
I
you.
know.
Thank you.
Bye.
Is that unanimous or?
No, John's,
That which is no.
That was his
He's
elongated.
going German.
4 out of 5 is good.
4-1.
You're Irish.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You're German,
Yeah,
dude.
it's
German
pretty
stuff.
bad.
Speak 4 languages.
Oh, really?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Sprechen? Ja, nein, das ist kaputt. Das ist verboten.
Du sprichst nein Deutsch.
thank you. Okay, everybody. Now we're,
But ask him something.
What do we got more?
In Catholic? Oh,
Yeah.
Irish Gaelic.
Module F. Okay, I see module, the T-shaped module F over there.
Good afternoon.
Yep, hi.
Yes, today we're going to be presenting as a new building as Module F. It's on the corner of Clover, Beachgrass, and Harvey. Everybody can see that. Pretty deep into the site.
John, pay attention.
Okay. Mark Schnell.
Yeah, up till over there.
So just give us a little bit of a recap, because the last time we convened, I believe that we approved these guys.
We did, we brought revisions today about what we
Okay.
witnessed, and
Like
we
Main
had
Street?
no revisions on these.
Yes.
Um,
These four were approved,
These are
right?
approved, this is approved.
Yes.
These are approved.
That whole
And we were
block is
going
approved.
this way down, right.
Okay.
These are going to be modifications of previously approved designs, so
Okay.
they will be new applications. But this is a unique new design that
Okay.
hasn't been presented.
Great, thank you.
Sure, with pleasure.
Do you have one of those for me?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
We have every expectation that these landscape
Okay.
pictures are not representative of what's
They
going to
are-
be the final.
The landscape?
I have to say, we were asked at one point not to show landscape.
No, I'm teasing you. I'm completely,
But I did my best just to add a tree and a person for scale.
Do we have, does everybody have one of you?
very nice.
What about this?
It's this one.
Which color are we doing?
Module F.
The,
Okay,
one
so-
or F? Just F, this one.
Just F today for new business. And then we have some revisions.
If you like this.
I don't know. I'm tired of
Where's
playing
my-
this game.
Okay, so this is 8-unit building. We have 4 units on the first floor and 4 units on the second floor. It's deep into the site, kind of nearing the end of the proposed development. And then eventually, this will be the area of the one-story of the single-family residences. So the F and the D are sort of the last two before we jump the road over to this quadrant. They're actually redesigning this parking a little bit, so we're going to hold on that till next time. Or else I would have brought the K as well today, but it's hard to orient yourself properly. So on the F, it's we're proposing to make it more subdued in the color. We were not going to do the white trim. We're proposing the sandstone with maybe a gray roof. I know that we had mentioned there's several roof colors now that you do accept.
Correct.
But I thought that just from, we were driving around today too, looking at some of the roofing color choices, and it really helps soften the whole building if it, we'd like it to mute the building a little bit. The main entry is also a Clover because that's where our parking is, but we're also showing a main facade on Beachgrass, which is the colonnade, the columns on the front
Right.
porch. The back of the building faces Harvey, and haven't really done anything with articulation as far as add-ons to the back of the building.
Which one are we doing? This one or that one?
This one
This
specifically.
one.
Yeah,
The back is the one,
Hey,
right? That's it.
We could use one of those.
Oh, you don't have a set?
You just look up there.
oh wait, I
No.
we have a small.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, we don't
I did,
have one
sorry.
of those.
I only gave it to that.
Yeah, I mean,
So south.
So south is going to be facing Harvey Road, and north will be facing Clover, and the main facade will be facing east.
Can I make a start?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Please.
The building is too big. I, for one, vowed to have asked you to reduce some of these buildings. We are not held by how many units you have to have. We are held by what it looks like. That facade, which is the east elevation, and going up that street is a real clunker. And I don't know whether along this facade, you could put a porch on the gable end. It's something has got to start coming down. It,
I just want to see which one. Oh, Clover Place. Okay. If you just go to the next, I won't interrupt you, but if you go to the next image,
yep,
one more, please. Yeah. This is the same facade with the porch and the entry. The main entry is actually along Clover Place.
right,
And the building's recessed in the back,
yep.
and that's where the main entry is with the porch. With the
But
entry
this
porch.
is just a little porch. And they're all, look, the buildings are huge. Look at your eave lines going along there. Every one of them, there's no bringing down of any eave. It's all the same height.
Which elevation? There should be at least 8 inches below.
Well, I think she's looking for something more substantial than that.
This, we are in the midst of a
Yeah, it's right here.
townwide discussion of what low-cost, affordable, whatever housing is. And one of the things that we are charged with is to make it look like Nantucket. Not whether it's got 8 or 10 or 12 or 2 units inside it. And I feel we've got to bring some of these things down to make them so it doesn't look like a development on the mainland. And all these buildings, with the exception of, I don't know whether it was I or C, had no one-story usage. And I really think that we have to start doing that. If you look at your east elevation where you get a picture of several buildings in a surround, they are all the same height. Because it's shingle doesn't necessarily make it Nantucket. I think you have to consider, as I said, a porch along here on that east elevation of F, which,
So Diane, there is a porch over the gable on the east?
yes, I
Are you
see that.
suggesting more porch?
Actually, the east elevation has the porch. It's the north elevation.
See that,
This
see
is
that
the north
long wall, the
elevation.
gable wall, go to your
This
east
is-
elevation,
this
look at your gable wall, and with all those windows, and 2, 4, 6, 8 windows on that wall, and I was just suggesting that a porch,
I think you're looking at the north elevation.
it says east elevation.
It does?
Yes,
Yeah, it does say, this is the east elevation, we land on this street, so this is the east elevation, this is the north elevation.
it would be the north elevation, but in the east elevation.
No, I get it. So like if you're looking at the elevations, you're talking about a porch along that.
Something to break
Yeah.
this up, because
Yep.
you drive by there, it's not going to be hidden. We've approved the taking down of Mary's old house. And it's supposed to look like a part of the countryside. That's what it's supposed to be, and this doesn't look like this. This you could pick up and put anywhere, and I think we've really asked for quite a long time to have some one-story.
Well, to recap on the one story, if I may, we have submitted several designs to date with one-story portions. The G now has a one-story portion. The J is about only 1/3 of it is two-story. The B, the A, and the 8.1 all have the one-story additive massing elements. This F is a larger building, and we're happy to make some revisions to scale down the facade with an entry porch. It's just I think we may want to look on the Harvey Road side, because this
Harvey is going to be your south side, right?
Right, the Harvey Road side is the south elevation. This is actually just facing the residential parking.
But you have, again, all
Right.
windows,
Okay,
no...
I think
Right,
what she
we-
means, Diane, is the Harvey Road side is the south, correct?
Right.
Correct. and
Okay,
it has-
so you're saying rather than add the single-story element to what would wind up being the less viewed side, add it to the side that's the more viewed side?
Correct. It's an identical mirror image of the
Yeah.
side that Diane is concerned
Yes.
with. And we already do have an entry porch on that side, it's just hard to see in the rendering.
Right.
An entry porch doesn't bring the building down, which is what I was trying to do on the east-north side, was so that we didn't have such monolithic shapes going down small roads. They're not, Boston roads. It's-
Yeah, I think, can I
I'm sorry.
try to?
Well, let's make sure that Diane's.
No,
good
no,
for
she
this.
goes,
Yeah,
You
because
good? Okay.
I'm going to try and say something in a different way, the same thing. I think how this is positioned on the road, that it has such a high profile that I don't think this is a good place to put this massive a structure, because it's seen from, it's just very visible. So I think they're tucked away in the back or somewhere else for this type
This is
of
the
mass.
back, though. This is literally the edge of the phasing. This is the back.
But it's on a corner, you see, and you can see, it doesn't,
And the parking
doesn't
is
have-
already kind of designed for the amount of units. Even to flip these two, if you were to flip the I with the F, parking would have to be redesigned and all of that. This has already been approved by, the town, the site plan,
Yeah.
what's been approved by the town?
the site plan.
They approved the buildings there
The
without
footprints.
HDC saying what they wanted?
Well,
I don't know.
So there's
the
different
overlap.
ways to handle this. So it sounds like if Dinah, you're saying that the F unit needs to stay where it is, so then Diane's comment, and I'm sure Abby's comment, is to take into account factors that would mitigate the scale of the building.
Yeah, there has to be, if this is going to stay there, I think it needs to have some architectural features on it. Right now, it really does look like an army barrack, and I think that so that people don't say that, I think we have to try very hard to change that look. I mean,
Okay,
it's too massive, it's too boxy.
what we did, just in the overall site plan design, we kept the smaller buildings towards the front because they were closer to Ironwood, just overall.
Yeah.
And tucked away all of the larger buildings. We had twice the length of buildings at phase one of this. We've split all the buildings up. So we are definitely trying to accommodate, and we will accommodate you on your request. I just want you to know that this has already been placed at the end of the development for a reason, because it is a larger building.
So it doesn't, well, that it's on a corner doesn't make it high profile?
It's a high-profile building, absolutely. I think it is. It has three frontages. But it also, if you look at the design, it's not a flat box. It is a T-shape, and it does have deep recesses, over 20-foot recess. I mean, this box is
Is
about 24
The whole
feet
board
back.
hasn't spoken, but so far Diane Abby are basically saying that it's unrelenting, sort of 2 stories all the way around. You know, I get the push and the pull thing, you know, that's good. That's a positive, but introducing single-story elements that we're seeing basically pretty much none of right now, other than that
On that
porch.
front porch, right.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay.
we can add a wraparound of sorts. I would like to, again, look at doing less concrete on these structures because, and maybe do a series of awnings over the window so it wraps around as one feature. We'll show you later an awning design that we brought today.
By awning, do you mean?
It looks like a porch except it has brackets instead of columns.
It's a little flat roof with 40. with
Well, but what's the
hanging
material
brackets.
of that?
It's the same, it's gonna be sideboard shingles. I'll show you.
Okay, so it's not an awning like a restaurant
No,
awning?
no, no,
Okay,
I call it an
just
awning
making
because if you
sure.
wanna put it over a window,
Oh,
it's.
yes, you did
I don't know that
discuss
you
this
really
the
call
last
it
time.
a
Yeah.
porch any longer,
should,
because it's
yes.
not
Oh,
a
okay,
door.
can I be more specific? Let me
Okay.
just
Yeah, go ahead.
finish up here, because
Okay.
I think, I'm just looking at this east elevation here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, there's nothing, there's no relief
Yeah,
here.
I mean,
That's what I mentioned, putting it
Right.
another porch to
I-
give it some
That's,
thing.
that's got, to make it,
Right, right.
you know, to make it work, I think it has to have some,
me, sorry.
some change in that architecture.
Okay.
And then I'm almost thinking, we could almost mirror it and have the back, the front, and the back, the T in the back. I mean, maybe, we have to look at that.
Finished?
Steve,
Yeah, I think if you look at your I-5, which is seen in the module F east elevation, the front sheet, the wraparound, that's successful. I think the differentiation on the north and the south are successful. I think if you could work, Abby and Diane's comments are that they're basically, they read as certainly that east elevation as like a monolithic, no additive massing. I'm just wondering if you can drop you can do something with that main roof line, your eave. What's your ceiling height on this main roof line now?
It's 8 feet
So it's 8, so, I mean,
on the lower eave.
if there's some way you can work out differentiation of the eave heights, I don't know if you can with, without going through everything, but if there's some way you could work out some differentiation, that might be helpful
Okay.
to create a sense of change. And then obviously, you're talking about porching elements, whether it's a pent roof with brackets or posted with column, with concrete, that's, to you guys.
What about a frieze above the windows on the,
you mean to create like a pediment?
just a thought.
Could I make a really rash decision? What if this building wasn't here at all? What if there was someplace else? What if this
You
was a
already
part?
said that.
No, I know, but look, just, you've got all of these buildings coming around like this. You've got this. This one, they're starting to stack up against each other.
Yes, they are, but they are separated by 20 or 30 feet each. What I'm thinking of is maybe we mirror this building and put these two gable ends closer to the eye and the smaller end closer to the corner.
Actually, that's a really good idea.
You know,
Don.
and then
Right.
you're gonna
And then you could have sort of a wraparound porch on that turn, and that would like mitigate the whole.
Right, this whole thing will go away.
That
You won't
whole
even
like
see it on the corner.
three-sided
Right.
thing.
And that would, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that could solve
could
a
be very
lot of these
successful.
issues.
But I do think in the consideration for future buildings, of which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 buildings of all the same size in that corner, right there, that there has to be some
Relief.
relief to the height.
Yes.
We are, I say it again, and it's true, but we get it said back to us that they have these units in the building. We don't care any more than we care how much it costs. It does not come in our purview. Our purview is to design something that looks like it belongs here, isn't it?
Well,
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
we're not designing a project for you, but you might get away with something where you have like a three-quarter dorm or a three-quarter structure. It's not a, it's not a story and a half, it's, so that, and then you increase your pitch on the main gable, so you're not, that you lower your plate here, you still get your height here, it might change your program internally somewhat, but you can still increase your pitch because your termination point at the ridge isn't gonna go up higher because you've lowered your, I'm not saying necessarily for this building, but it gives you a way to start to lower those masses.
This is the biggest, this is the largest building.
This is the largest one. It should be a recreation hall for the community.
Well, it is, how many square feet? It's 7 overall.
You're saying the way it
The
looks?
footprint is 3,000 some
It's in
square
where
feet.
it's placed.
The
footprint?
footprint is 3,000, really? Wow.
That's the largest one.
Yeah. Well, I like your idea of flipping it around.
Okay, so we'll-
I mean, it's definitely a step in the right direction. John?
One comment, I asked before, when you submit for any building whatsoever, where are the air conditioners gonna go and how are they gonna connect to the building?
Once we get the approvals on the module, that will help us determine where the mechanical room is and where we are gonna lay out the mechanical pads. We will be presenting that at a separate meeting with the type of siding that we'll be using, the board on board, basically, for the enclosure.
Sure.
We will present a full design on the mechanical enclosures.
You're not gonna use them, what are them things called?
Mini
Air
split.
conditioners?
No.
Oh, they're gonna be limited.
No, even if they were using those, because they're new buildings, you wouldn't have the piping on the outside, they'd put it inside the walls.
Yeah.
They don't like putting it on the outside, except if they're dealing with an existing house,
Well,
and they
they like
kinda
it because
have
it's
to.
cheaper. I'm not saying you, the
Yeah.
installer.
Oh, yeah,
Their
sure,
margins
sure.
are the same.
But when they're doing a new building, it makes more sense to put it inside.
I
Yeah.
mean, a
For us.
completely different architecture just for public use. I think it would be great. I think it would make this more of a community, to have a completely different architecture from all of it and make it a clubhouse.
Okay, noted.
Thank you.
Where's the golf course?
What else
I
can you
think,
say?
well, there's a putting green.
Abby just got off the link, so she's got golf on her mind.
Yeah, and the A's have that
And this is
beautiful.
where our one-story building is, here's another one-story building, here's another one-story. So we do have them on the site.
Yes. John?
The reason I asked that question is a lot of times I've seen some drawings come in and they say, well, here's the corner here, we're gonna put it over here, you know?
Oh, here.
And, well,
Yellow.
we'd have to gap and put them over here with the.
Maybe this is renovation.
Well, no, we're gonna put a cellar well in there.
This is not that.
Oh, the mechanical pads, of course,
Yeah.
of course. No, we want a
Ahead
chemical.
of time, so they don't, everybody comes back to revision.
Oh, yeah, motion to hold for revisions?
Well, no, hang on. John, were you finished?
Well, that's
So
right.
she'll show you that. Okay, so it sounds like we've got a motion on the table to hold for some revisions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pool hall.
Okay.
It takes, you had an idea like that.
You got
A
it.
is, A is,
You've got to think ahead.
Okay, we're A.
Okay, we had comments last time
Correct.
regarding
Air hockey.
window sizes, we bullet pointed all the comments. On the middle massing portion, we changed the window sizes to be larger. We increased the size of the rakes and the corner boards, and we worked on the door entry side lights to just make them thinner. They're 10 inches now to match the adjacent windows. The
this
A
is the L
building,
shape.
this is the A, and this is the A.1. This is actually I apologize, this doesn't have the decimal points on it, but this is the A, this is the A.1.
Okay.
So this is the F, but in the dual configuration.
This is not the F. That's the F.
Renovations. We looked.
Because this looks
You looked
very
at these
similar.
others last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Oh, we
this is
didn't
the
get,
L
because
shape.
I'm looking at this, and, oh, there's two of these, and they look just like the other one, so there's,
those are, that's the F.
This is where we said to add the drip cap and stuff like
Drip
that.
cap has been added, the rakes have been,
It's better to look at the full size.
The wrong drawing.
you need the full-size plan.
Yeah, I think they're coming, this is,
Just wait, no, no.
yeah, detail, yeah.
Don's got his hands full right now. You have no patience. That's a good thing you're not a doctor.
I know.
'Cause
You'd have
are.
no patience.
I just don't, I like to make it.
Is it almost 3?
Yeah.
Might have to do 8.1 right now, I don't know why.
Look, let's look at 8.1, we gotta move this
8.1.
along. 8.1 is a mirror
8.1 is a
image.
mirror image of
It
A.
literally is,
It
right?
literally
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
so-
just over here.
So, just as long as we're reviewing something. And remind me, is B also revisions?
B is also revisions, just revisions. This is
Okay,
B,
so this is just
again,
a
this
mirror
is,
image
this
of
is,
what we just saw.
this is 8.1, not A any
This
longer.
one's
We're
A.
skipping A for now. Mirror image.
That's K.
8.1 now,
Yeah,
that's the A.
8.1, which is
Yeah,
what
because
we-
John couldn't find the A drawings.
Okay, on this one, the revisions were similar. We took the window and we made a double window in the middle. Larger windows in the prominent pediment. And then, we also increased the size of the corner boards to 10 inches, the rakes to 8 inches just on the, front and back of the pediment piece. The side lights on the doors were decreased to 10 inches of glazing with a 12-inch window to match the window, adjacent windows. The color, I mean, we made one with the white trim and we did one with the sandstone trim, emulating a sandstone trim just to see how they look next to each other. But the color, we may want to hold for another day and do the colors at a
Well,
later date.
I actually have an opinion on that. It's, those two buildings, unlike almost any of the other buildings, are reading as, they're sort of a courtyard, right?
Correct.
A campus or whatever you want to call it. And so I think that if you have these two mirror buildings and you paint them two different colors, it's going to look way, way strange.
Yeah, a little choppy.
All
Yeah,
together.
and so I would be very in favor of having a uniform color just to unify
I
the campus.
ditto that.
Okay.
On the yellow,
On
no, I
the
would do
two
the-
yellow buildings,
yeah,
correct.
they're all the same color. I
yellow
thought we
gray.
had decided that.
But
Yeah, yellow trim.
I would probably
ahead,
go
Dawn.
with the white personally.
Yes.
Because it's more traditional and more stately.
I'm okay with that.
What are the colors in there so far? White and Quaker
White,
gray or something?
so far, on all of the applications, they are white.
Except for the one we just reviewed.
Right, we are showing in the renderings different colors. So,
I don't know if you guys would consider it, but I would think perhaps like a platinum gray or something different for these two buildings. That it's a mix between the white and the gray and it differentiates
I actually
these
love that
as-
platinum gray.
Yeah.
If we
know.
did platinum gray, well, it's actually 4 buildings, isn't it?
It's two,
it's
but it
two
looks like
Ls.
4.
Right.
Okay, so the
With
2
a one-story
Ls, if they were
footprint,
all
yeah.
platinum gray, I think might be striking. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the first one that really sort of holds together as a
Yeah.
Right.
sort of a design that doesn't, even though it's 2-story, it sort of sits well in it, and there's space around it. I think that,
Yeah, I think that courtyard thing is gonna be really successful.
Mhm.
Okay, so Dinah, now that we're, sort of our heads are cleared, could you just review, please, one more time what you have revised on these
Sure.
plans?
on the gable entries, which are mirrored on each
Mhm.
segment of the L,
Mhm.
we have changed the windows from 5'0" windows to 5'8" windows. We
Okay,
made
so
them
those
taller.
D windows
Those
are
are the
taller.
D windows?
That's
Yes.
good,
And on
yes.
the upper floor, we changed them from 3 foot, where's the upper
Yeah,
floor?
those are taller
Yeah,
too.
so then I-
The F windows have
Hello?
gotten taller.
Yeah, so these are 5'4" on the uppers.
So they used to be
4'8" previously.
About 4'8", so we added 8 inches to
Mhm.
each of them,
Okay, good.
right?
Right.
And then the corner boards, we beefed them up to 10 inches. I don't know if you want to go to 12, but,
No.
okay, okay.
So 10 is good, and the side light, it was a 16-inch side light, it was too wide on the
Right.
doors. And we reproportioned that.
Okay.
Also, there were three windows above the door. There's now 4 with a double window in the middle. We talked about that as well.
Okay,
And that was it.
okay, thanks. Oh, you know what, you're still calling, oh, this is interesting. So on the bigger gables, you have, I believe you said you have a 1x8 rake.
Correct.
But now on this smaller gable, you are calling it as a 6-inch. I think they should all be the same size.
Okay.
Consistent within the building.
We weren't sure.
Because a smaller rake actually is gonna tend to make that volume look larger.
Right, right.
So,
We don't usually change the width of our rakes in the
no,
one building.
Consistent.
no.
So the fascia of the
So
rake will
all
be
10s, all 10-inch, 1x10 rake.
1x10?
Oh,
For the rake.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry.
8.
I erred. 1x8, sorry,
1x8 with the you had also asked us to include the 1.5 drip.
which we see. Thank you for that.
So you do the shadow.
Okay. So, everyone, what do we think about this now?
Do we have to have that natural wood louver in there, up in the gable?
Oh, that should be
Or could
painted.
that be
Or a window?
could that be a window, or could that be?
Well, I think we have one image with a window.
Well, that's
Isn't it for
okay.
ventilation?
Which one?
In the roof?
Was it? Not
Yeah,
today,
it's the roof
right?
ventilation.
We
I
had
think-
it at one time, and some reason it's changed. We can do a window there.
I think if it's there, I'd go with natural, or I think the platinum gray would be okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Hold on, so I think we got a few things on the table.
Yeah, I meant-
One is whether
I
we
meant
stick
a
with the
2/2,
louver,
Oh,
like up
or,
in there.
or we go with a window instead of the louver.
well, I mean, I guess I would say, just as a point of information with respect to the louver, is if this is a window, I don't believe that you're gonna get the ventilation that's required on a cubic volume basis out of these
No, we
vents. So you're gonna need
Continuous
a
soffit,
ridge.
continuous ridge.
Yeah, you're gonna need continuous soffits, continuous ridge. So sacrificing these louvers is actually not gonna be detrimental to the building science side of it.
Oh.
If it was a smaller structure, they would have to, they could use these instead of ridge and soffit, you know what I mean?
So we're gonna
These
have
could
a-
be windows.
That's an argument in favor of windows.
That's not a
over
problem.
two.
Right, because I think that the,
I mean, 2/2, what you mentioned?
Yeah, just 2/2,
4
the same.
Yeah,
Well,
they don't have
wait.
to open, right?
yeah, it's
No,
a fixed
it's
window,
Fixed
so
windows.
what,
Same as
Four
this.
paned
she
window.
means a 4-light window.
Like a four, which is, 1, 2, just literally
It's a four-light
a
fix.
grid,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it just
so if
looks
you
like
s-
one of
If
these
you look at
Fs.
your F
See?
window,
Yes.
take 4 of those panes,
Okay.
and that would be
And
your
that's
little
it.
4-light
Perfect.
window up there,
Okay.
okay?
All right, typical on all, right?
All.
Right,
But
yes.
Except the ends, right? Not
No, the ends
ends.
would, I think the ends would benefit too from having those.
Yeah.
I mean, how does everybody else feel?
Yeah,
about
I would make it consistent.
Okay, I hope we don't need those for ventilation.
Yeah, I think if you have to sacrifice for
Yeah.
ventilation, it would then.
That'd be the ends.
Yeah.
It'd be the little end.
Yeah, over the front door, it'd be really nice to have that
Yeah, I
feature.
love
It's
it, yeah.
really starting to
Okay.
look like University of Virginia, I think.
Exactly. John, you've been silent over there.
Yes. As we started, you said, point out what changes you made.
Yes.
If I look at this whole thing, I don't know what
Well, they
changed.
didn't,
That's the
you're
thing.
correct, they didn't bubble it.
Right.
So
You should highlight it.
But they,
what they did, if you look over on that sheet, like right where your hand is, look up there, they've
Right.
labeled all the things that have changed.
Yeah,
But they didn't
it
bubble it.
shouldn't be my time being spent reading this, trying to find it. It should be.
So Don, ordinarily you just put a little bubble around it.
You could put a little light bulb around
Yeah.
this thing, if you explained it to me. I'm
Yeah.
not the smartest man in the world, I'm not the dumbest.
Or if you note it,
What?
if you put a note, just circle the note, and then we know without.
Call the
looking at
note
drawings.
or
Yeah, something.
The bubbles call our attention to
Yeah.
what has been changed.
Can we make a motion? if
Well,
we-
I would like to
Oh.
comment, if that's okay. I would like to suggest that the F windows over the main entry doors would actually be a mulled unit So what you're doing is creating a sense that this is a structural support between the windows, which I think reads better with the vocabulary of the columns and the wider rake boards.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay, so like
Maybe a,
vertical.
yeah, even if it's just the same width as the casing between the two of them, so it's.
Yeah, it's like a 3-inch mold.
3 or 4 inches.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay,
so this would just
So-
be a mold unit.
Oh, in between.
Diane.
The board that we usually put, yeah.
Make your motion.
Motion to approve with the louvered elements changed to 4 light windows, right?
Thank you, yes.
correct.
On the south and
And
west.
on the mulled windows over the front door, that a casing be put between the windows.
Correct. And I believe that we agreed that these 2 units, oh, by the way, this motion that Diane is in the process of making is for module A1 at the moment.
And
I think
platinum.
we approved the trim color on this to be platinum gray.
Yeah.
So that would be an additional thing to add to the motion.
Okay, and is that for everything?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
And that's, yeah, it's for the
Mr.
mirror.
Chairman, I have one quick question. Do you consider that the platinum gray, or is that not?
No, no.
It's not on this color
That's
palette.
Newport blue.
Right, that's what I-
Please don't do Newport blue.
But is
It's a
this,
super light.
this is
gray.
not the most
Platinum,
up to
platinum
date?
gray is of the spectrum of grays that this board approved, it's like at the lightest edge.
At the lightest
It's
edge, and I
all-
have seen it on your buildings,
It's
but
almost like the mat at
Okay,
the
it's just
top
not on
of
this
this
list.
whiteboard
Okay.
that's in the center.
This. It's
No,
just a-
up above. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, platinum,
super, super
like a
light.
real
Yeah,
platinum.
it's nice.
But it's a tonal difference that
Okay.
reads well.
All right.
Okay, all right, so Diane has made a motion with some conditions, which she's noting down on the application. All those in favor of Diane's motion?
Aye.
Okay, now, I think, would the board be okay with the idea of simply approving the A module, which is the mirror image,
Yes.
with the exact same set of conditions?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that they mirror each other, creating sort of a
Completely.
complete,
Yes.
All right,
Same comment.
same,
Highlighted.
yes.
Cloud
Well, fortunately, in this case, John, we don't have to see that in front of us. So, can that be somebody's motion?
yeah, I'll
Is
make
that-
that motion.
All right.
That, what number is that? A?
A.
That the A module be the same as the A1 module.
All the conditions of the
conditions.
approval of the A1 module would apply to the A. All those in favor of Abby's motion?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Okay,
John?
Yes.
all right,
A1,
great.
yes.
Yes, well, we did A1 and A. Yeah, okay, so now on to B.
Okay, B has revisions as well. Do you have the 24 by 36 B revisions? John, I apologize ahead of time, they are not clouded, but they are bulleted on the,
We'll just have you go through one by one.
Right,
So
so
the B
I'm
is
gonna
the purple building.
B is the purple building, this building here. So as you drive down Orchid Place, it's between the B and the A.
Yep, I remember. There was a little issue with the back corner of this guy, wasn't there?
There's the
little
D,
knob.
the D is, it was this building, which is like an L shape. If you recall, let me show you the image. It was this building, not this image. I hope we can see it from the next one. Yes, it's this building beyond that had like the,
Oh, okay.
the hip, like, I'm sorry, the,
It
what do you
was
call
some
it, shed
weird
roof.
thing.
Yeah. We've revised that design, it's not on the agenda today, but
Okay,
that was,
I was confused.
you could see it in the.
All right, so let us review now. Okay, so your entry porch on the south elevation, you have added, You added that porch
Brackets, yeah, the brackets.
and the porch? In the roof and the brackets? Okay.
Correct.
That's item 1. Item 2 is 6-inch rake, right, although,
This one,
These-
we were asked to keep a 6-inch rake, but we can go to a larger rake.
we'll see how the board feels about that. Okay, and no gable returns.
Right,
Oh,
we
yeah,
had,
yeah.
Yeah,
we had the
the,
returns on some of the.
correct. Revised windows and locations.
Right,
Maybe
we
you
had
go into
3
more
windows
detail.
in the front. I can show you, let me show you the previous approval. I mean, not approval, the previous submission of B.
B.
Get the, no, not that one. It's the view. I just had it on. That's why I went up here. This was the previous view. The 3 windows in the gable entry.
Oh, yeah, it's much better with more
We
fenestration.
spread the windows out.
Yeah,
And we
Yeah.
added a linear, I'm calling it an awning, but it actually is like a roofed
I mean,
porch.
it is a porch.
It is a porch.
It's just a porch that's held up with brackets as opposed to
Right.
columns.
Now,
that's
on
all.
the image, we only drew like a partial bracket, just to give you the idea. You see the bracket doesn't go all the way across. Now, on the
You mean the
actual hard
porch.
line,
You mean the porch?
the porch in the bracket.
Because in your drawings here, it goes all the way
It's showing it
across.
going all the way.
Okay.
When we drew it in,
Got it.
I mean, it's up to you, but when we drew it in 3D, I felt like it was too much.
It looks very sharp. I'm sorry, but it looks peculiar to be all the way across. to me.
This is it as more of a, I thought more scaled.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up and that Steve has that observation, because ordinarily with bracketed porches, we're not seeing multiple brackets, we're just seeing 2. Usually a bracketed porch is surrounding a doorway, which is exactly what those are doing.
Right.
So maybe we'll stay on that point for a second. What do you all think about the 2 different versions? One is a porch that runs the whole length. That's what you see in the elevation. And the other is the bracketed porch that just encapsulates the entry
or
doors.
this?
I like the full porch out
I like the
front.
full porch
You like
too.
the full porch?
Yeah, I think this looks too fussy. It almost looks like a garrison, sort of, you know, suburban.
Oh, well, no, then I misunderstood.
Oh.
You don't like that?
I'd like a whole porch to come forward.
No bracket.
So there's
not a
3
bracketed
options then,
entry.
So,
right?
yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
A porch, what's showing, and then just
This is what
over
we
the
had
door
last
showing the
time.
renderings.
With a porch with a pediment.
Oh, yeah, but if that were not a pediment, but it came off
a shed
like a
roof.
shed
As
roof,
opposed to this.
and you had
That's
a,
okay.
so in section,
Yeah.
it
Because
would
that's
look,
I know, yeah, you
Yeah.
wanna do.
You're
Yeah.
looking,
yeah,
A colonnade.
this,
Like
that,
That's not usual.
that, you know, just the
Right?
usual
Right,
thing.
right.
You see a
So
porch.
like this
this one is 4 feet deep.
So like
The one
this
that was on,
versus the full thing.
the one we reviewed first, the
Because they've drawn
the F
like
unit,
this.
that had a full porch on it.
Right.
Okay,
So if it were
This would have like
just
a,
here.
this is like 5 feet or something.
at least,
Yeah, 5 or 6 feet.
maybe 6.
Why is this step so high? Isn't there,
It's,
is it missing
that'll be
that?
worked out in the grading
Okay.
as you, it'll all be one level.
All right.
As you go down the building,
Mm-hmm.
that buildings are shown at the worst case scenario right now, from the lowest grade to the highest high.
Oh.
But most of these buildings are gonna be substantially lower than that. Not substantially, but say 8 to 12 inches.
Thank you, Donna. So Diane, did what Abby just described, was that where you were headed to?
For the shorter,
She's saying like full porch,
right, but
not brackets, columns,
yes.
it runs the whole length,
if you're going to have brackets, it should be short.
like the 3D view
Yeah,
there.
if it's going to be long one for the full thing, then it should be with pillars.
May I ask a question
Go.
regarding that? Can we, would the board be open to doing one half of the L with the
I knew
bracket?
you were gonna say that.
And
What does that
one
mean?
half of the L with the farmer's porch?
Yeah, See how you have two porches there?
This is
She
an L
sent-
shape.
Okay, so
Oh, absolutely, yeah, make it
Dinah
kind
alluded
of
to this.
secondary.
Dinah
Yeah.
alluded to this earlier.
Yeah.
So every time they do a full porch, they're pouring a whole slab and all that stuff to support the porch.
Yeah.
With the brackets, they don't have to do that, so it's a cost-saving measure. So she's asking if, like, we did the full porch, as you described and as Abby
Like on the
described, on the.
South
on-
side, south elevation.
On the south elevation, but then on the, that's south and
On
the
the
other side would
west.
be,
This would be
West.
the west, and this would be the south elevation.
Yeah, the other
Yeah.
elevation would have a pent roof.
So
Right.
it seems like maybe the porch, the longer porch would be here, and this would be
actually, I agree with that.
the
So
bracketed.
we said it kind of backwards.
I'm sure we
Um,
did.
You
What
want the
Dinah's
south-
suggesting, and I actually think is the proper course of action, is to keep the west elevation with the long porch and have the south elevation with the little bracketed porch.
Because you drive
You
this
see
way.
more- you
and
see more
see
of
that.
the
Yeah,
the west
whichever
side.
one is more
Yeah,
visible.
that's a good
Should
idea.
have the full porch
Okay,
and have the other one
Thank you.
secondary.
okay,
And then the secondary pen is the shorter, just the section over the front
Right.
door.
correct,
Double bracketed, not four.
right.
Okay, just to make sure I understood.
And
Yeah.
no pedimented porches whatsoever so far on the project, just so you know. It's all.
That's going on
Oh,
on the
you
rec
don't-
house.
I don't mind them.
Okay.
Um,
On the what? On the rec house.
All right. Is there any, so we sort of got hung up on that, but so is everybody okay with the rest of the revisions? And this is in white. This building is in white.
Yeah,
Um,
can I make a comment? I want to point out, and I think it's important to point it out, and we're looking at these renderings, we're looking at these the 2D drawings, but then we're looking at the renderings, and the window treatment almost reads like a plank frame, and it creates a certain sense of presence that is not going to be built. It's going to be flush. I mean, your trim is
The
one.
shadow,
Oh.
it shows an automatic
Yeah.
shadow. We should recess it a little more in the rendering, right?
I just think it's, you don't have to, I mean, I think we understand it would be more accurate, but it's, I think it's unfortunate because I think that what's rendered actually makes these larger buildings look more attractive and more appropriate because it changes the sense of the facade by giving it a detail and some texture in a sense. I know you have a budget, I'm not suggesting you go back and change all the trim, but I did want to point out that there is a difference between the two and it's.
Yeah, yeah.
It will be something that's visible, you know, it's gonna be clear when
You
it's
mean the
built.
4-inch casings?
Yeah.
What would you?
No, the depth. These are
Oh,
1 by
the
4,
depth.
so that
Right, 1 by
your shingle
4.
lines are gonna be flush, you're not gonna have any shadow element. here.
Just at the cell, a little.
Just at the
yeah,
sill,
at the sill
yeah.
you
And
will.
it's gonna make a big difference in the
Gonna say that.
presentation in real life. I'm just making a comment, I'm not suggesting we go back and redo them all, but
We got a fix for that. Abby has a
Off of
fix for
you,
that.
I just want to say that the B windows should actually be the same size as the A's, as the B's look a tiny bit squat. They look-
Just on the middle portion, can we do that inside of a room? Do we have enough, I'm just
don't-
wondering if we have enough,
I don't think it's more than a couple of inches.
It was 2 feet,
It's probably
right,
about
John?
six inches.
6.
It was 2 feet we had. We need a minimum of 24 inches in a bedroom on the second
You
floor.
also could move these up into the fascia strip, as you did in the other ones, and they were very
Well,
successful.
Can you give me that scale?
Or
I'll
increase the
make sure
pitch
it
of your
works.
pen and your porch roof.
Do you see how the B's
Do you want to
are?
increase the pitch?
Well,
Yeah.
to bring it up, it makes that, Abby, does that help address your concerns? If you raise the pitch, you'll raise the ridge of that roof so that it makes the shingle space between these much smaller.
Yeah, we could do a 512 or whatever fits there instead of a 4. Right now it's a 4.
I think we're at 2'3" for the facility.
You know what I mean?
The second floor.
So we have,
they
we have
raise the
room to
pitch.
You have
either
room to
A-
do that? I
For
think that
this,
would make it more
yeah.
successful,
Yeah.
because they just look a
Just
little.
on the middle
Why are these
portion, right?
windows up under them?
on the-
I don't,
Yes.
I personally don't mind.
These windows are
So
up under
it would be
them,
like
and these
this,
windows are not.
these guys, and these
So they
guys.
have these up.
And then these would be
Right here, too?
Well,
subordinate.
then we're gonna lose the
Oh, we're
difference.
going to use
That- Just on the gable coming forward on the front door,
The two main masses.
or would you want to do them on all of them? If you change one,
I
do you
don't
have to
think
change
it's a
everything?
good thing for the interiors, having that low of a cell. We can't, her furniture and everything. I don't mind doing it on a few of them, but,
I would be
I'd
good if
rather
you changed the
increase
roof pitch on
the-
that.
the-
I think it'll make a difference.
if that would be acceptable, I'd rather increase the roof pitch on the,
So this gets a little steeper?
No. On the,
Oh, that.
Yeah, it eats up the
instead of
short
it being a
space.
4 inch.
It will look better, actually, that roof is too thin.
Yeah.
but that roof was
Yeah.
only for a
I think
3-foot
that would look better
bracketed
anyway.
system, so
Right.
now it's gonna be higher and a
that
6-foot
help?
porch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, oh, you mean, and then leave them as Bs?
Well, if you, I mean, they could eat
Yeah.
up 6 inches or something there. And that will change, basically the shingle line at the top and the bottom.
That magic works where the porch is, it doesn't necessarily.
But Dinah, the Bs, so these Bs to the right of either side are right up to the fascia
Right,
on this.
it's-
Why couldn't these be bigger and go right up to the fascia
Because
there?
it's the ceiling height, I think we have a minimum of 6 inches to get a piece of wood structure above this, a 2x6. And that's the same here, even though the eave is raised more, just to give it variation. It doesn't mean that we really have the head height there, we only have 8 feet.
Okay.
But I could bring back, what about a board? A board across the top of the
Oh,
window?
freeze?
Yeah, back to the freeze, I don't know, I'm just saying.
I think it'd be kind of out of context with
I
that.
think you've got enough going on. I just, if you can't do it, you can't do it. It's just.
Would it be a good idea, instead of making an approval, is having come back and see what it
Looks like.
looks
Yeah,
like it
so,
if we put
so
it
right now,
up?
we talked, you got what we're after with respect to the porches, including the concept of increasing the roof pitch. What else was discussed? Well, we did discuss the
One bracketed.
possibility of, one bracket, one full. And we discussed the possibility of making some of the windows taller on the second floor, if that's possible.
Yeah,
Is
make
there
it-
anything else that
We
anybody
will
wants
look
to
at
add
that,
to
but we
that?
could lower the sill, I don't know that I can raise the
Just
Yeah.
have a look, see if you
Yeah,
can make
maybe eat
those
up the
Bs
space.
As.
So we're clear though on what it is we're looking for.
Sure,
You're
sure,
clear.
absolutely.
So I'd make a motion to hold for minor revision.
Okay, all
Making
those
those
in,
Bs As would give you a better report card.
all those in favor? Well, I will add to that also, if there's an in-between size that still gets you your 2 feet,
Yeah.
that's another thing. All those in
hold
favor of
for
Abby's
revision.
motion to hold for revisions?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks,
Mr.
guys.
Chairman, I am so
Yes.
sorry,
Yes,
but on the
ma'am.
rake size, one more time on the B, we started to touch on it, and then we,
My own opinion is 8.
8, okay.
Six is really, that's for tiny buildings.
Okay, very good,
Okay.
that makes great
I mean, if
sense.
we told you that, if we somehow told you 1x6 on others that have been approved,
The-
I would suggest that you look at it, because
Yeah.
1x8 is really,
Okay, because you
unless
said,
the mass of the structure is dramatically
not the
smaller.
eyes, the eyes
So then you've got like a little shed roof sticking off, a little jut on the building, then you might go down, but even then, it's pretty
It
rare.
looks tiny, exactly,
Yeah.
especially with the 1.5 drip.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your help.
See you next time.
You're welcome. Thank you for your patience for being here.
Anytime.
Well, now.
Hi, John.
Who's taking over Patty's place?
Slow down, but I'm
She
not there.
doesn't really have a replacement. I believe Nicole came to one of the meetings, she's part-time there.
Who is that?
She's new to the
You're
island.
changing phases.
No, Patty's being going to Marion.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Marion Mass.
Yes,
Mary Rover.
Yeah,
Patty?
Patty Rogavine.
yeah.
Marion's a nice town.
Yeah.
She's gonna teach it at the school.
Oh, no kidding.
Wow.
All right, so
All right, thanks again.
you guys are all
Thank you.
set. I think
Motion
that,
to approve minute, do we have?
no, we did that already, so I think all we do, all we need to do is adjourn, right?
All you need is to adjourn.
All right.
To adjourn.
Adjourn.
Aye, aye.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Aye. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.